Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, Ghana Revenue Authority defers implementation of 1 cedi energy sector levy on fuel to June 16, following enforcement challenges expressed by oil marketing companies.
When you are paying a tax for GRA, you need to prepay before you lift. So where were you going to get that 4 million, for some it was 9 million cedis, yesterday, to prepay the tax today in order to lift?
Also coming up, currency expenses by Bank of Ghana rise to 1 billion cedis as legal claim against the regulator, on the other hand, slows marginally for last year. Plus, government fails to meet T-Bill's target but rejects a little over 1 billion of the bids tendered. My name is Daryl Kwao. Details coming up. All right, we want to begin with our financial markets update. The government failed to meet its Treasury bill target for the second consecutive week. That's according to auction results by the Bank of Ghana. However, the yield on the 91-day bill was unchanged. Joining me on Zoom is Head of Trading at Republic Securities, Patrick Edem Agama. Good afternoon to you, Patrick. Let's start with the outcome of last Friday's auction.
Good afternoon, Daryl. So we noticed that investors submitted bids totaling 5.4 billion Ghana cedis against a target of 6.67 billion Ghana cedis, but the government accepted only 4.3 billion Ghana cedis, which is like 32% below the maturing obligations of 6.4 billion Ghana cedis this week. Again, we've seen that interest rate is stabilizing. For the 91-day, it cleared at 14.7922, dropping only by 0.27 basis points. The 182-day cleared at 15.549%, dropping by 2.65 basis points. But we saw a sharp decline in the 364-day bill that cleared at 15.799%, dropping by 11.37 basis points.
Yeah, so we saw government rejecting 1 billion cedis in order to lower borrowing costs. How effective is this strategy amid persistent fiscal pressures and upcoming debt obligations?
Well, that's a very good question, because with regards to upcoming debt obligations, it's actually mounting. We've seen this measure working so far for a number of weeks during this auction, where they're able to stabilize the rate, but it's still a bit concerning to know or to find out where the government will be getting these extra monies. I know they've planned for days like this, but if you look at the coming week, the obligation is about 7.4 billion. And hence they are making a target of about, I think the target for the coming auction is about 7.5 billion. So the question is, where are they going to get those monies from when investors are not really coming in because the yields are low? And then also we've seen an uncomfortable trend where on the retail front, since the dollar hit the tens, people are rather looking at liquidating or actually getting some dollars to buy some things for now. So it's an uncomfortable trend, but it is worrying, and we want to see how the government to be able to handle this situation.
All right, a quick look at the stock market. Our eyes are on GCB and MTN Ghana shares. What are you looking at?
Well, we've seen a lot of supply side for MTN, making it drop to 2.81 Ghana cedis per share. There is demand mounting heavily for GCB, so we expect it to move up, and we are also expecting the composite index to gain some points this week.
All right, thank you very much, Patrick Edemagama, head of trading at Republic Securities. You're watching The Marketplace. We're taking a short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. Turning to our top story for today, the Ghana Revenue Authority has deferred the implementation date for the new energy sector levy on fuel to June 16. This is despite President John Mahama giving his assent to the bill by Parliament last Thursday to ensure its takeoff this morning. George Jaffe has more in this report.
The decision Joy Business understands was mainly influenced by implementation challenges expressed by the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies about the levy. The chamber had argued, for instance, that they needed more time to calibrate their systems to aid the smooth implementation of the 1 Ghana cedi on every levy of prices of petroleum products sold on the market. The oil marketers were also seeking some reliefs from the Ministry of Finance, which is yet to be carried out, hence the need for the Ghana Revenue Authority to revise the implementation date following some fresh engagement with the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Energy. So consumers may have gotten the relief now, but maybe could be paying more from June 16, 2025. The Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies have maintained that implementing the 1 Ghana cedi levy on fuel will move the average price on every litre of petrol from 11 Ghana cedis to 13 Ghana cedis.
Meanwhile, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies has described the decision to defer the implementation of the levy as a prudent move. Chief Executive Dr. Rivers Nopon called for continued dialogue and stakeholder engagement to ensure the smooth implementation of the levy in the future.
When we met the minister, we made him aware of the challenges that we foresee happening. And as a matter of fact, because we did not want to necessarily give a burden to the consumer, like Raleigh said, we laid three different I would say proposals. That first of all will even make the government gain enough revenue as is expected, and also prevent any I would say turmoil within the sector. One of the main reasons why we could not implement this, let me throw more light into that, is the fact that for our members who are on cash and carry, what this meant was that yesterday they had to raise millions of cedis to prepay the tax. Something that people don't know, and then when they are bashing the sector agencies and stakeholders by saying when fuel price was 17, we were quiet. Now just 1 cedi we are complaining. When the commodity increases, it's a different thing altogether because you pay after selling, right? But there's a credit facility. But when you are paying a tax for GRA, you need to prepay before you lift. So where were you going to get that 4 million, for some it was 9 million cedis, yesterday, to prepay the tax today in order to lift?
Well, tax consultant Francis Timoboy joins me on Zoom to discuss this. Hello, Francis. So your thoughts on how this is playing out and what are the likely short to medium-term fiscal impacts of postponing the implementation of this new levy by 1 week, considering the government's repayment objectives?
What we saw yesterday was some level of breakdown in communication and coordination between the Ministry of Finance and GRA, and then also the OMCs. Whilst the ministry and the GRE were looking at fiscal agency, the OMCs were more concerned with operational readiness. So they initially rejected it, but kudos to the GRE. They were able to quickly rally and re-engage, for which reason we are seeing the postponement to 16th of June, which is the next pricing window. On the short term or 7 days impact, on the back of the envelope calculation, I think the government said they were going to, look at 5.7 billion cedis, which is equivalent to how much litres we consume from now to maybe the end of the year. So on a daily basis, that gives you around 27 million litres. So potentially we're losing about 27 million cedis a day, and for the 7 days, you could do the calculations. And so for me, I think that it is better to ensure that there is proper compliance than to rush the decision. Normally, when taxes are introduced, you give the collectors some time to be able to, ensure that they comply with the system. So it's good that there was some engagement, and we hope that it continues. Maybe in future, we should ensure that we do the engagement before we saw the two letters flying back and forth.
Well, so how might this new levy affect fuel pricing mechanisms? I'm asking because we are told the 1 cedi charge is on the consumer, but then we're hearing the OMC say they're going to be paying more than 1 cedi. Explain to us.
No, David. So you see, this is a flat tax, and so 1 cedi, no matter what, it's likely to increase the pump price. The flat amount does not depend on the other variables that determine pump price. The good thing is that the government has been able to keep the dollar, which is the primary currency, under control. And so the danger then becomes if the cedi begins to, lose its value, and the crude price on the world market also begin to go up, certainly then consumers are going to bear the brunt. Prices of the commodity is going to go up at the pump. But for now, we can say that the cedi is likely to keep the price at the pump within an average of the price that we used to pay when the cedi was around 15, 16 cedis. Otherwise, we should be prepared to pay more when some of the variables that determine the pump price begin to, lose their value.
Wow, so it's been postponed to June 16. Then we expect that the taxes will kick in. When it comes to compliance, what challenges do you foresee?
For fuel, commodities like fuel, we do not foresee much challenge. We heard people saying that there's potential smuggling, but in Ghana we don't experience much smuggling like other commodities. So that is why potentially the government decided to go for fuel as a short-term measure, an easy tax to collect. So if the OMCs are able to program their systems to ensure the compliance by 16th of June, I think that we're going to have a smooth compliance measures. Like the chief executive officer was saying, in some cases, we even have to pre-finance. You pay the amount in advance before you lift. So the government is assured of, a constant revenue, and compliance may not be too, big as we see in other tax types.
Yeah, and how effective is this new charge? Do you anticipate the government is going to impose some more levies? Mind you, Ghanaians are already complaining. You took away some levies and then you're imposing some others.
As for that one, I haven't seen any government that comes that says that they will not impose taxes. But I can say that this particular tax is, you can call it a necessary evil. If you look at the way we have all sat quiet for the energy sector to be such a financially unstable, I think that we can see some reasons that, yes, this legacy debt must be paid. But having said that, obviously, for the next 4 years or 8 years, certainly government will come up with different tax policies, and this may not be the last.
All right. Thank you so much, Francis Timoboy, tax consultant. Always appreciate your analysis on tax issues. You're watching The Marketplace. Now, the total amount of money the Bank of Ghana spent last year in managing currency in circulation and printing went up marginally to hit 1 billion cedis. There's more on this as well as other cost components incurred by the central bank last year.
The increase in the currency expenses for last year was influenced by a spike in the cost of printing notes and coins by the Bank of Ghana, which rose from 675 million cedis to 986 million cedis. However, legal claims against the Bank of Ghana had reduced from 117 million cedis in 2023 to 107 in 2024. These are cases brought against the bank from some staff over wrongful dismissal, land litigation, and housing issues. The 2024 financial statement showed that monies the Bank of Ghana earned from penalties against financial institutions went up significantly to 161 million cedis. But a careful look at the operational cost may raise some concerns. Versus staff cost at the group, VAT as the Bank of Ghana and its subsidiaries has risen by some significant margin to 2.9 billion cedis ending December 2024. Staff loans, on the other hand, stood at 1.6 billion cedis. In 2024, the Bank of Ghana spent 14.4 million cedis in importing foreign currencies to meet the needs of businesses and banks.
You're watching The Marketplace. We are hitting another quick break. We'll be back with a look at your headlines. And welcome back to The Marketplace. Before we wrap up, a look at what is trending on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Our indigenous cocoa buyers may go extinct. Cocoa Board CEO warns of LBC collapse. Also, OMCs to implement one city energy sector levy from June 16, 2025. Plus, the GRA postponing the implementation of the levy. We've got that story on myjoyonline.com, as well as Ghana Chamber of Mines appointing Kenneth Ashbe as new Chief Executive Officer is amongst the most popular news stories on that website, myjoyonline.com/business. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time tomorrow.